qualifying, and her husband is probably her best friend and one of her best coaches. Leanne chipping the 4-pin right there, Jan. Things are going really well so far.
Next week, the PWBA heads to Collins Bowling Center, Eastland in Lexington, Kentucky for the Lady Ebonite Classic. Action gets underway Sunday, July 15th through Thursday, July 19th. Then for the 6th year in a row, we head to the Terre Haute Bowling Center in Terre Haute, Indiana, July 22nd through the 26th. We then take a month off, but come back strong with another 11-week swing, beginning with the Foundation Games 5 from the Kegel Training Center in Sebring, Florida, September 1st through the 6th.
Leanne Barrette up by 10 after the second frame, going into the third frame. Cara up on the left lane.
Ooh, leaving a 6-pin.
Still a much better shot, Jan. Her leverage point was a lot better. Her arm proceeded through her leverage point. We'll see if Kendra makes an adjustment off of the 210 on the right lane.
She's been light on both lanes, right? Good adjustment there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she moved her feet on that particular shot. It looked like she slowed her ball speed down a little bit and let the ball read the lane a little bit more.
And that's been one of Kendra's points several weeks, keeping her ball speed a little bit slower.
And Cara with her excellent spare shooting, which gets her here mostly every week, using her plastic ball cross lane at the 6-pin.
These are the reasons that these ladies are on the show every week.
Absolutely. You don't make the top 5 every week because of your strike percentage usually. You make it because of your spare percentage. A lot of people overlook that.
Especially on the sport condition that we've been bowling on. Spare is even a bigger key than normal. Leanne Barrette working on 2 strikes, and this one won't be a strike. Completely missing the head pin.
Leanne takes a 4-step. It looks like she kind of got quick. She said that she's really been concentrating on her push away, hoping that the ball doesn't push her to the right, and it looks like she was led by the ball to the right, which caused her to throw the ball a little bit right past the break point. Plus, she was a little firm with her ball speed too, Jan. Great spare by Leanne. That's not as easy as it looks.
We're through 3 frames here at Country Club Lanes. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. The Southern Virginia Open are being brought to you by the Women's International Bowling Congress, striving for 86 years to identify and fulfill the needs of women bowlers. By Travelodge Hotels, first with families, relax with Travelodge. And by PWBA.com, the official site for news and information about the Professional Women's Bowling Association. We're through 7 frames now. Kendra Gaines in the lead by 15 because she stayed clean. Disaster struck Leanne Barrette to 7-10, and Kendra Gaines, there's the one in the lead. Cara Honeychurch had a couple of tough frames with 2 big splits.
Here she left the 2-4-7-10. She used her plastic ball like she usually does and converts it. She uses half the lane, and she converted just like she always does. Cara is an excellent spare shooter. That's why she's here every week, Jan.
That was her 7th frame spare. She had a 4-6-10 split, though, in the 6th and opened.
She's having a little bit of trouble on this right lane. It seems to be her least favorite lane, which is unusual because she chose to finish on that lane.
Good point. She did. Obviously, some things happening out there she didn't expect. And again, problems.
Most of her problems, the ball's been going high, so it's very confusing because she's the only one out there on the left side. So I can't say there's really breakdown. Maybe she just lost her comfort zone on that lane.
Kendra Gaines, meanwhile, staying clean.
Things are going her way, and that's what it takes to win matches.
Exactly. Leanne Barrette, a great shot, left to 7-10. So you're right. Kendra Gaines making good shots and getting the breaks. Oh.
Very unusual for Cara. But, you know, when shooting for the right-handers, the 3-6-9-10, or the 2-4-7-8 for left-handers, that has been one of the toughest spares out here on the sport condition. Girls shake their heads, scratch their heads. They've used plastic balls and reactive resin balls, and it's very tough. As you see, Leanne Barrette's strength this week was relaxation after she learned to get loose. She says she has a hard time getting loose, and her weakness was getting loose.
Exactly. Exactly. Part of that due, though, to an injury. She has a hip problem, and I know she said she has a hard time in the third, fourth, and fifth games or so with that hip.
Just this week, her left hip has been bothering her, but thank goodness for the chiropractic care. She's been seeing the chiropractors every day, sometimes twice, 3 times a day, if the time allotted.
Another split by Cara, and I know she wants to thank, as do all the ladies, the chiropractic services provided by Dr. Brian Robbins and the staff of the Cornerstone Complete Care. They helped out all week here. And Leanne said she was there every day, so that's how she was able to get through this tournament.
Along with her strength, once she does get loose, she stays pretty channeled, and she could string some pretty big games. Pretty obvious the last game of match play, shooting a 276 to make it here.
That being Leanne, Cara, another open frame, and it's been a long time since we've seen that lady so lost on a television show. Meanwhile, Kendra Gaines trying to just keep it in the pocket. She leads by 26 pins.
As you can see, Kendra's not trying to cover a lot of boards. She's trying to keep in a little tube in the track area between 10-15, and it seems to be working. That's a ball that she drilled for the show in case the condition was a little bit different, and it seems to be working for the first game.
Leanne, a 2-time player of the year, and I know she wants to say hello to her mother. Her mother had been ill, I guess?
Yes, she's doing well. She sends her wishes and her thoughts, and so does the whole PWBA tour out here. Wish her well. Good.
Glad to hear she's doing well. Cara, meanwhile, in the 10th frame, just trying to finish this out and maybe figure it out, and, well, at least one of them fell. It really doesn't matter at this point in time.
Getting here and bowling as well as she did, I know she's a little bit disheartened, but she's still here. She had a rough week last week, disappointing, but yet relaxing, and she still made another show.
Well, the best Leanne Barrette could still shoot would be 201. Kendra Gaines can shoot 238 if she'd strike out. She's just going to need some pin count here.
And she's going to try to stay patient. She has been working on that all swing, and it's been paying off. So patience actually on a show will also pay off. And as you can see, tripping the bucket on that shot. She's getting loose as the game goes on.
She's definitely getting the pins to carry, so Kendra Gaines will move on. But first, when we return, we'll give you a little more detail on sport bowling. Congress and the American Bowling Congress that places skill ahead of technology. It's all about skill and your ability to compete against other bowlers with a similar passion for the sport. Advancements in equipment and lane conditions have changed bowling, often placing technology ahead of skill. Sport bowling is returning credibility to the sport. Bowlers rely on their accuracy, ability to read lanes, and adjust to speeds, rather than relying on high-tech bowling balls or forgiving lane dressing patterns. Sport bowling offers sanctioned leagues focusing on skill and competition, challenging lane conditions, competitive tournaments at the local, state, and national levels, and exclusive benefits. These are some examples of exclusive sport bowling awards.
Sport bowling is a great membership option for WIBC and ABC bowlers who want to step up to the challenge. The high average bowlers will be drawn to this challenge. However, this is a program that's designed for bowlers of all skill levels. Emphasis is placed on spare shooting, on solid techniques, and accuracy, which are the strengths of women bowlers.
The sport condition is a very tough and challenging condition. It takes a lot of brain power. You really have to stay in every shot. Very rewarding most of the time if you make good ones, but if you make some bad shots, you really pay full price for them. It's very challenging.
I personally love the sport condition. I think it greatly rewards good shot making. I don't think you can afford to make a bad shot on the sport condition. And personally, it suits my game because it's my natural way of getting the ball to go long, and I've learned a lot from it. I think it's made me a little better player.
Join us next week as we show you what makes sport bowling so different and why bowlers are stepping up to the challenge. A look at WIBC 5th Vice President Tamara Adams. She's been with us all week. WIBC very supportive of the Professional Women's Bowling Association. Final score of match 1, Kendra Gaines 225 to Honeychurch's 147 and Barrette's 191. And so it'll be Kendra Gaines taking on the hottest woman on tour, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, right after this. On that lane.
Right, but it looks like she lost her footwork a little bit. I don't know if she slipped or stuck, but you could see that she was sliding when she was coming back. TV appearances this year, 9 shows for Carolyn. Wendy making 3, Cara making 6, Kendra, this is her 4th, and Leanne with 3 shows. Carolyn also, just like Cara, an excellent spare shooter.
Yes, she is. And she doesn't have the big, powerful game that some of the ladies have, and it doesn't take that, especially on this condition.
No, I think it's been mentioned before in the past, you don't need a whole lot of power to score in the sport condition. You need accuracy, you need a judgment of ball speeds and entry angles to the pocket.
So Kendra Gaines starts with the first 2 strikes, and let me remind everyone there's a $50,000 bonus out there from Travelodge Hotels if Kendra shoots a 300 game, or any lady shoots a 300 game on television.
Right now we can focus on Kendra since she's got the front 2.
Don't forget this, was the site of the first televised 300.
Yes, it was.
Right here, Country Club Lanes.
You can't notice it, but they have on the flooring down there, they do have Michelle Feldman's name and the date in which she accomplished the 300 right below there on lane 17 and 18.
Do they? I didn't
Yes,
see
they
that.
do. They have all honor scores right down there, which I think is a pretty big asset in a bowling center, that you can walk up to a pair of lanes and see all the honor scores bowled.
Sure, that's tremendous.
Kendra going a little bit high again on lane 17. She's picking up her plastic ball and going cross lane. She yelled, "Get to it." She was a little bit afraid, a little bit too much skid.
Thought it might go right by that one.
Well, we didn't see the end of the first game, but Kendra did leave the 610 and end up chopping it. So maybe that's why she was a little tentative.
Carolyn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Carolyn's
okay.
average this year, 216.59, higher than last year's average on a much grueling condition.
Yeah, I think she's the only one who's higher right now, at least of the top players. And if you missed last week, this may be why she's higher. Carolyn told us again about the blue dot.
Oh, yeah, the blue dot
Well,
from
I
the
mentioned
National
last
Enquirer.
week on the show about the blue dot. I cut it out of the Enquirer before I started in May. And they called this week and came out and took a couple pictures, and they said blue dot strikes again. So it's bringing me a lot of luck. So I think you better look for the National Enquirer and cut out the blue dot.
I don't know, Marianne, are you going to try it?
Well, my mom reads it, and I guess I'm going to be looking for that blue dot. Right now, Jan, I need all the help I can get.
Leads in earnings and average, also leads in our point rankings. Carolyn obviously on top across the board right now. Big double there for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard in the 4th frame. Kendra led qualifying this week. She was the leader at the end of qualifying in the first round of match play, and she said that last day was really rough on her.
Jan, she actually led, I think, 3 full rounds. The format was a little bit different. We had a few more morning sessions than we did normally.
There you can see the rounds that, and you're right, Marianne, 3 rounds first, and then the end of qualifying would be round 3, and then she led the first round of match play. Leanne Barrette, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, and Wendy Macpherson, the other leaders, all on the show. Anyone that led made the show. That doesn't usually happen. You see a leader fall out of the show that led 1 round during the tournament.
Well, the difference was Kendra had a lot of pins to spare, and that's what helped her yesterday, because she didn't have very good ball reaction yesterday.
Well, it's a close one, and there's a lot of bowling left. We'll be right back with more of the Southern Virginia Open. Now lead by 26 pins. She struck and left a solid 8. Kendra Gaines' disaster in the last frame.
Yeah, she left the 2-8 spare, and she got a little too far right. Not enough friction out there for the ball to recover.
So an open frame puts Carolyn Dorin-Ballard in the lead by 26. She's coming off of a solid 8-pin. Great shot. And it thought it would turn the match around, and then Kendra went high, leaving a 6-10 and sparing it, and then light, leaving the 2-8, as you just saw. Look at Carolyn's 4 titles so far this year. She jumped all over that open frame.
You can't give Carolyn too much of an opening.
Now, Marianne, Carolyn was leading going into the last round last night, and typically she increases her average throughout match play. Last night, she actually averaged under 200. Did you see what went on, or were you able to tell? I know you were bowling.
I was trying to bowl, and unfortunately I didn't bowl close to her for many games, but when I spoke to her after, she said that she had a really hard time getting lined up. She had to try to play various parts of the lane. She used a few different types of equipment, and the number one thing she focused on is that she did lose focus. She started to look around and look at scores, and that's not like Carolyn.
We just saw a little bit of lost focus there on the lens. Big strike for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Kendra Gaines now stepping up in the 8th, really starting to get into a must-strike situation. She trails by 26 pins. And suddenly, she just doesn't have anything. 4, 6, 7, 10.
Well, as you see, Kendra's still searching. It looks like she got that ball a little left of her target. Her ball speed was a little slow, and as you can see, the outcome was not very pleasant, the 4, 6, 7, 10.
Nikki Giannoulias didn't have a pleasant outcome either. She had the 3rd highest average, but only 12, 11, and 1 match play, finishing 6th. Kelly Rapp in 9th. That's her first top 10 finish.
Cara Honeychurch had her knee drained last week, and is about 75% this week. Shanna Ray, 9 for 9 in the top 24s.
Pretty impressive.
Yes.
Kendra Gaines now up in the 9th frame. Not much she can do but strike out, and wow, a pin almost made a reappearance on that shot.
Kendra's throwing the ball excellent.
Carolyn now stepping up in the 9th frame, leading by 48 pins. 4-time runner-up to Player of the Year the last 4 years. 3 of those years to Wendy Macpherson, 1 year to Carol Giannotti-Block. And she's tired of being runner-up, I do believe.
I think her preparation really helped her this year. She says she prepared differently, and I think that she came in a lot fresher as opposed to being burned out as quick. And I think that's an asset. Carolyn throwing the ball really well. She hit 15 at the arrow, sending it out to about 8 down the lane. And unfortunately, she just got wrapped. The 6-pin went right around the 10-pin. It was an excellent shot.
The preparation you talked about actually involved a little less of just practicing on her own and a little more of league type of competition.
She bowled 3 leagues. She enjoyed it. When you bowl leagues, you could still stay focused, but you could still have a good time.
Yeah.
But Carolyn probably stayed focused most of the time.
3 consecutive PWBA titles. 1976, that was actually prior to the PWBA. Patty Costello and then Lisa Wagner did it. And Tish Johnson also in 1990. So the last time the 3 consecutive titles were won. Tish Johnson, 1990.
11 years ago.
Long time, and this lady will have an opportunity in the next match to do just that.
We're going to have a match like we did last year, except the roles are reversed.
Exactly.
Carolyn led, and Wendy was second.
Interesting, because Carolyn said, even though she's won all 4 of her titles from the top seed, she still believes she'd rather have a game under her belt on the lanes.
Well, right now, I think Carolyn, and as well as she's bowling, she could win from the 6th position right now, Jan.
Ooh, that'd be a trick.
She is just, we keep saying this, she's just really on fire. She sees the lane. Her visuals are excellent. Her lines to the pocket are excellent.
So it's Carolyn Dorin-Ballard that makes it through the semifinal match. When we come back, we'll take another look at tonight's scoring. And then in the next 4, 3 out of 4 qualified in first and won the event. So far tonight in match 1, Kendra Gaines kept it clean, and that was enough to move past Honeychurch and Barrette, 225 to 147 and 191. In match 2, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard continued her dominance, defeating Kendra Gaines 225 to 200. Coming up next, it'll be a rematch of last year in Danville. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard will challenge defending champion Wendy Macpherson. 300 games only twice on television. Both happened in Virginia. First, it was Michelle Feldman in 1997 right here at Country Club Lanes. Then in 1999, Cara Honeychurch thrilled the crowd in Richmond with her perfecto. Will we have another one tonight? If we do, surely they'll win that beautiful trophy, and it will have to be thrown by Carolyn Dorin-Ballard or Wendy Macpherson. And I think this match is about a lot more than a trophy. As nice as it is, this is a big rematch off of last year. Carolyn was top seed. Wendy defeated her. Switching roles, and we'll see what happens. These two have been fighting it out for Player of the Year for a number of years now, and this match could have a lot of meaning.
This match says a lot about the PWBA Tour and how it's been the last few years.
Big opening shot for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Wendy's choice, and she chose to have Carolyn start.
I noticed when Wendy was taking her 10 practice shots, she was having a lot of problems on lane 18. So that's maybe why she chose to let Carolyn start the match so she could finish on lane 17.
And you're probably exactly right. Wendy's first shot, a little light, leaving the 2-5, and you're right, I noticed her split at the end of practice on that lane. So she's...
Well, Wendy getting the ball a little bit too far right, but prior to this, she did split. But the shots prior to that, she was leaving the 2-8 in the bucket. So maybe the split, she tried to compensate for it. So she's still a little bit lost on 18. Picking up her spare ball and shooting directly at it.
Some of the other finishers this week in 19th position. Brenda Norman right next to me back in the finals. Way to go, Brenda. She's doing our scoring. Robin Masante, she once made 77 consecutive match play finals.
And 23rd, Laura Moriarty making the top 24. It's her first tournament since she broke her bowling hand fingers. And Tish Johnson coming closer to the $1 million mark, only $1,035 away.
Well, she's inching closer slowly but surely. Wendy Macpherson now in the second frame and high on lane 17, which you thought was the better of the two lanes for her.
Wendy's still searching a little bit. She got that ball a little bit further left than she did on lane 18. I would say she got it probably in about 4 to 5 boards more than she wanted to. This is not an easy spare. This is one of those combination spares that the girls have been having problems with on the sport condition all year long. Wendy electing to shoot it with her reactive resin ball, and no problem. That's why she is leading the tournament, Jan.
Career TV stats, 210 average for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. 54 appearances, 8 of them this year, as we mentioned. And she leads by 22 pins, stepping up in the second frame. One strike, once again, $50,000. Offered up by Travelodge for a 300 game on television. Ooh, I saw a late messenger attempting to take out that 10 pin.
I don't think she noticed that, but it almost did get that 10 pin. That was still an aggressive shot.
Turned her back a little too soon.
Carolyn picking up her plastic ball, shooting her 10 pin.
No problem with that spare. Carolyn has a fan club. She has a lot of things going on. A lot of the players do. She has Carolyn's Crew, the clothing, or that's her fan club. She has Carolyn's collection, her clothing, and a website, carolyndorin.com, if you'd like information on any of that.
If you notice, Carolyn did beat Wendy twice this week in match play.
Now, does that ever come into play in your mind when you get to television?
Actually, for me, it doesn't, because I really don't remember who I beat when I beat him. The goal is to try to get those 30 bonus pins, because it's only going to help you.
Right. Coming up high on that shot.
She very well hit inside her target as well. Her ball speed seemed to be a little bit slow, but that lane might be breaking down. Kendra was having problems with that lane too. As the second match went on, Wendy went high, so maybe the oil is dissipating a little bit. Routine spare for Carolyn at the 6 pin.
No problem. Carolyn's picking up her ball, taking it back to the chair with her, so she may be working on her grip a little bit.
She might be putting a piece of tape in or taking a piece of tape out. It's hot under those lights, so you never know what kind of feel you're going to get.
So Wendy Macpherson now in the lead by 9 pins. Of course, our plus or minus, again, assuming a strike. And the same 10 pin we saw from Carolyn on lane 18.
Much better shot on 18 this time. She looked like she got lined up. We'll see what happens for the rest of the game.
We talk about Wendy trying to get back on top, and I should reference that she really is still bowling well. It's just her standard has been so high for the last 4 years that people expect her to be on the show every week. You know, she's had, no low finishes. 18th is her lowest finish, so she still is performing well each week, just not getting to all the telecasts or winning like she has become accustomed to.
Well, yesterday it really put her over the edge. She did almost shoot 200 over. She won 7 of her matches. I mean, it's hard to beat. The last match, shooting 210, she lost to Carolyn. But she was already assured first place. So that's pretty aggressive, averaging 224 in a tough condition like this.
Sure is. Apparently she wanted this top seed position. Good shot.
Terrific shot. As you can see, she feels a little more aggressive on that lane.
Now Carolyn seems to be using a ball a little bit more surface, not quite as shiny as Wendy's ball.
Eb and I did come out with 3 new balls this week. A few of the girls drilled them during the week. They used them periodically. Carolyn went through 10 balls all week. She drilled 3 of the new balls. I'm not sure if this is one of the new ones that she drilled, but it is a newer cover stock out. And it is a little bit duller, but you can see it's a hooking ball, but it kind of arcs in the back end. It's not real jerky. It doesn't get down the lane and flip. You can see it's very controllable, and that's what's helping her keep the ball in play today.
Exactly, and that's the name of the game right now. She changes balls to shoot at her 10 pin. If you'd like to try to come and compete against the ladies, once again, we have changed the amateur eligibility rules. You have to meet our average requirements, but amateurs can bowl. You can cash a maximum of 3 times per year. Regional bowlers can bowl unlimited, and if you come out, you have to participate in the orientation meeting, so you'll be familiar with the rules. So go ahead and call the PWBA at 815-332-5756 for more information. Three-time Bowlers Journal and 4-time WIBC All-American.
On that lane, Carolyn did make a move left. She threw the ball a little bit further right. So that's telling me that the track is opening up a little bit, that she has a little bit of area there. But she doesn't want to get it too far right, Jan, because there is OB, which we call out of bounds. A lot of oil out there. There was a lot of gutter balls thrown this week. If you hit that OB to the right, it had no chance of hooking. It would go into the gutter.
So if you hit it a little too soon, forget it.
I've had my share of gutter balls this week.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's good, because now you're with me here. See, there's a good side to it.
Yeah, at least I made the show somehow.
Wow, 10 pin on 18.
In the pocket again. Still a lot of game left, though.
Both players just staying consistent.
Looks like she threw that shot really aggressive. Got it where she wants, right in the track. Break point about 8, about the same as Carolyn's. There might be a little bit of push down the lane. Kendra was having a little bit of push on that particular lane too. Lane 17 was hooking a little bit more. Lane 18 was a little tighter for her. So there might be a little carry down on lane 18.
So look at our scoreboard. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard with 2 strikes. Wendy with just 1, but both players staying clean. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard actually in the lead by 11 now because she is working on a strike, and we will assume she'll continue to strike.
Once again, Wendy making a good shot, leaving a 10-pin.
Now she didn't have the pocket to begin the match, so now she's found the pocket, leaving 10 pins. Would you make a big move, or would you just try to make some kind of subtle change?
Well, Jan, most girls do different things. A lot of girls tend to change their hand positions. They tend to change where they look on the lane. Ball speed is a very big thing that I've noticed a lot of girls have been changing to let the ball get into a roll a little earlier.
Well, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard is in the lead right now. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this match. She looks great, looks well rested. She actually talked to us about this week's format and how she liked it.
There were some good and bad points to this week. Obviously losing a day in bowling on Friday, the television show, and having to get in the car and drive all night to be in Detroit. That was a downfall. But it was kind of good yesterday in the fact that we bowled at 2 p.m. this last round of match play. We got to sleep in a little bit, and I'm always all for sleep. So it made for a good day yesterday.
She told us she takes 2-hour naps every day, and it's helped her this year to stay more refreshed. Hasn't helped her get that 10-pin out, though.
Wendy has bowled a terrific game. I mean, she hasn't missed the pocket from the 3rd frame on. You could see that the ball's pushing a little bit. The bowling ball that Wendy's using is a polarized cover stock, has a tendency to get down the lane a little bit longer than what Carolyn's using. Carolyn's ball is rolling a little bit earlier, arcing to the pocket. Wendy's ball is getting down the lane a little longer and not giving her the pop, possibly, to kick out that 10-pin, Jan. It's coming a little bit behind the head pin.
Okay, well, Wendy Macpherson now trailing by 21 pins because Carolyn Dorin-Ballard could step up and strike out for, I believe, 237 at this point. Now, this is very important to Carolyn, but she wanted us to reference this is not all that's going on in her life, and we want to extend our sympathies to her family. Her Aunt Bert, that we've been referencing the last few weeks, did pass away, and Carolyn's going to make a donation to the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Fund on her behalf. So, while this is very important, you need to put things in perspective once in a while.
Yeah, you tend to overlook things. People don't realize that we are humans out here. We have lives. We have families. You know, there's illnesses. There's diseases. Del Ballard's going through a rough time right now with a family member of his. So there's a lot going on in that family, but they seem to overcome it when they come to the bowling center. Like you said, Jan, you put it in perspective, get your job done.
Exactly. She just got the job done there, but she was on her toes trying to make that spare ball hook. I think she was pretty worried when she threw that. Not too many high scores this week. Look at that, only 279. That's low. Low for this bowling center. We've seen a lot of that on the sport condition, though.
Brenda Norman, our scorekeeper. Shot too big 279.
All right, Brenda. We've only seen 3 or 4 300s this year on the sport condition. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, 9th frame, huge setup shot for her. She needed that strike in order to keep herself in a position of being able to step up and win.
She made a big jump on lane 17. throwing the ball right into the track, and it just seems like it's just sucking right to the pocket. Working very well for her.
Wendy Macpherson could shoot .216, and that's a start.
From watching this game now, you can see why they are the bowler of the years and the runner-up of the years.
Exactly.
It's never over till it's over.
I believe Wendy is requesting a re-rack on lane 17. Taking a little bit of time, and obviously a very important strike. She trails by 10 pins going into the 10th frame. She really needs to strike out here to force Carolyn to double, but anything she can do will force something. Carolyn looking down. She's really worked hard on that, not paying attention to what else is going on. That's sometimes a difficult thing to do.
And I mentioned that earlier in the show, that was her weakness, her lack of focus, which has been mostly her strength to get her here.
And a key shot going high, leaving the 3-6.
That lane has been hooking a little bit more. Wendy didn't get the ball far enough right. Seemed like it hit that friction area and just went left on her very quickly.
Well, she'll need a spare and a strike to force Carolyn to mark.
Picking up her reactive resin ball, moving left. Finding the oil on the left side of the lane, going cross alley.
She seems to have found the secret to sparing that up. Well, she definitely wants to fill this up with all 10 pins. Can make a big difference in whether Carolyn Dorin-Ballard needs a mark or not. And 9 is big enough. 9 will force Carolyn Dorin-Ballard to mark. If that 10 pin would have stood, Carolyn would not have needed a mark. They could have tied. But right now, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard must mark to win 3 consecutive titles, tie a record, and have 5 titles in just 9 weeks.
A record that has last been broken in 1990 by Tish, we mentioned earlier.
And did she make it when she needs it? What a hot hand. So Carolyn Dorin-Ballard wins her 5th title this year. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Are being brought to you by the Women's International Bowling Congress, striving for 86 years to identify and fulfill the needs of women bowlers. By Travelodge Hotels, first with families, relax with Travelodge. And by PWBA.com, the official site for news and information about the Professional Women's Bowling Association. There is your champion of the Southern Virginia Open, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Final score, 226 to 195. Linda Frazier, the manager, is on hand with the trophy, and Robin and Chico Valenzuela, co-owners of Country Club Lanes, present the check. Tune in again next Monday for the finals of the Sport Bowling Challenge from a new location, Shore Lanes in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. Once again, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For Marianne Dirupo, I'm Jan Schmidt saying so long from Danville, Virginia. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.